This is Let's Talk Business with your host, Marc Ebinger. Now, here's Marc.
Welcome back to the Let's Talk Business podcast. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about using remote workers from the Philippines to grow a digital marketing company. In studio with us today is Ramil Rodriguez, the founder of ThinkSpark Solutions, a marketing company that specializes in digital marketing. Ramil, welcome to the show.
Marc, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, man. You actually have been growing quite a bit. I've kind of been growing with you.
It's been exponential.
Yeah, it has. And I love that you've niched down too and what you're doing. So we'll talk about that as well. So excited to have you in the studio. I'm your host, Marc Ebinger, the CEO of Kruka's Virtual Staffing, a company that recruits and staffs experienced overseas administrative assistants for business owners and attorneys. If you're curious about the most common tasks that virtual assistants are doing for businesses, head over to our website at krukas.com and grab a list of the top 20 tasks that VAs are doing for businesses like yours. Link is in the podcast description. So, Ramil, give me about 90 seconds. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you ended up with starting ThinkSpark Solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised here in San Antonio. San Antonio, Texas has always been beloved to me, and I've always been very passionate about the mom and pop businesses here. But I've always been passionate about business. I've always been passionate about creative. And so that's kind of where my entrepreneurial spirit also came from. You know, when I was in college, I had teams that we started about a dozen businesses, and many of them flop. They always say, like, you only have a 10% chance of your business succeeding. So I went ahead and created 10 businesses
to get your success
exactly.
rate up.
And so the one that really worked was this growth agency that I called ThinkSpark Solutions. And it first started out as a one-man agency, just consulting and providing creative services wherever I could. And then I realized that there was much of a need for a lot of the digital, the world that was coming in. I mean, when I graduated, we were just stepping into the social media realm and really getting our feel for that. At first, I wanted to get into commercials on TV, and then when I realized how the world was shifting, then I started jumping into the dynamic of short-form reels, TikToks, stuff like that. And businesses, they really just need to focus on what they do best, which is cooking the best food. And so they bring us on board so that we can do what we do best. And so that's getting the word out for these businesses. And really, it just grown from this one-man team of just myself to this network of people that we've tapped into areas of expertise from all over the world. I mean, we have an analytics person that's based out of LA. We have a graphic designer that's based out of Long Island. And then obviously I've got a lot of people that we've recruited from your side that have been super helpful for us. And so we tap into this network, all of these areas of expertise to create the best thing we can for our clients. Like I mentioned, we're a growth agency. We specialize in Google ads, Facebook ads, SEO, social media, organic advertising, things of that matter. And so when businesses come to us, they come to us with a need of trying to get their word out for their business. And franchises specifically, and I really love watching your podcast because you get a lot of hosts that have really talked about this need for the franchises. The franchisors, they give them all these rights and the capability to grow their brand, because it's such a household name, which is why you would want to jump into the franchise. But they leave the marketing up to the franchisee themselves. And so really we're just trying to help them get from, throwing their money at whatever and hoping to see what lands to actually putting their marketing dollars to work. It's just, we see just in general 40% of marketing dollars go to waste just because they're not really sure how the money gets spent. We specialize in optimizing to make sure you get the most bang for your buck. And so when we work with franchises, we make sure that every dollar that they put in is put to work.
Yeah, and so you're niching down a lot into the frozen custard, right?
Well, so a lot of it specializes in food and beverage. So believe it or not, there are a lot of consistencies when it comes to food and beverage franchises.
Okay.
And so it's really fun because even though we outsource a lot of the work that takes place post-production, I always try to make it a thing for me to be on site whenever we're filming, whenever we're brainstorming, whenever we're talking directly to the clients to say, what are your needs? What are you interested in? And then we put our little creative spin on it. That's our little superpower. And then we make the most of it. So,
And how long have you been in business with ThinkSpark now?
Oh man, so I started ThinkSpark Solutions back in 2017, and again, it just started as a consulting agency. And it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I decided to propel it into this actual small business that I wanted to grow.
So what led you to me, really. Like, you know what? I'm open to hiring,
Yeah.
outsource remote workers from the Philippines.
So originally, it was just kind of this business dilemma that I had. I had no consideration of using any sort of virtual assistants or anything like that. I knew that I needed more manpower, and by then I had already created a network. I had already kind of established a lot of the connections I've made in the United States, but I needed something or somebody that was more hands-on with me in the day-to-day, in the grind of it all, because there's no way one man can do it all by themselves. And so I just kind of started meeting new people and going to your networking events and being introduced to as many people as possible. Actually, I remember where we met. We met at Heather's business launch. And she also made it a networking event, which was just the perfect opportunity because, again, I was just introducing myself to people and trying to see what answers I could find to the problems that I was facing. And, again, the biggest problem was just the manpower. And so I remember just walking up to you and say, hey, I feel like
I remember that too.
I feel like there's something that we could really collaborate on or really partner with, or something that we could really grow upon. I feel like there's some business to be made there. So I shook your hand, I introduced myself, and then that's kind of where you let me know what you offered, and then it just clicked. It made me realize that the solution had been found.
So how was thinking back? I mean, you hired somebody here recently, but what do you think of the hiring process that we provide? Obviously our goal is to provide it to where it doesn't require a whole lot of your effort. We want to do the heavy lifting and the heavy sourcing.
Right.
What's your feedback on that?
Yeah. So one thing I will definitely say about Krukus Virtual Staffing, I mean, you guys do such an amazing job at the recruitment process, and not just from a level of doing the work it takes to bring the person on board, but also recruiting, like finding that level of expertise that you need to fill the role. And I think that's something that's amazing because, something that I hear all the time is that, when it comes to virtual staffing or when it comes to hiring out from international overseas, it's like, you get a discount pricing at a discount service, but that's completely a myth. The reality of it is that you're paying a fair wage with a bonus structure at your disposal, making sure that they're being paid properly, but then you're also getting the expertise that comes with it. And so that level is that's something that's indispensable.
That's what I love about a world market like we have right now. It's a platform in which everybody, as long as they've got infrastructure in their particular country, they can apply and they can get work now, which is super nice. Obviously, their cost of living is going to vary in different countries, but the ability to go and find somebody who has talent and then pay them a wage that gives them a good lifestyle where they're at, that's important. And for people that may think that, we're going to undercut, that doesn't work. It won't last. So you may get somebody for 2 or 3 weeks, but they're going to find another job, right?
Exactly.
You have to pay them a market competitive wage. And if you don't, you're setting yourself up for failure or hassle.
Yeah, and I would even argue that would be the bare minimum. I mean, if you really want to excel and make sure that you're leading your team properly, you want to make sure that they have nothing to worry about except for the task at hand.
Yeah, and with our service, people can, they can do incentive programs. We make that easy, and then they can provide offhand bonuses, whatever they want to do there. But they can also provide benefits down the road. If they, it's time for me to give a healthcare package. You know what I mean? We can set them up for success with that too. But it's at the discretion of the client to be able to do these things. Because when I've had people with me, I've got 3 of them that are over a year and a half, one over 2 years now that have been with me.
That's awesome.
And at some point you're like, let's visit these additional things we can do and these pay raises and so forth. But you create these relationships that go long term, and it wouldn't last if we weren't paying them a fair and marketable, a competitive wage. So yeah, I don't have, for people that might want to bring that up, it's just a short explanation as to how it works, and then we're fine there.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of myths that should be debunked when it comes to the business that you're in.
Yeah. So what about the ongoing HR support? Now our team, it kind of works behind the scenes to make sure that, the VAs are happy, the clients are happy. We do regular check-ins. So that's tied to our customer service.
Right.
What are your thoughts there?
I think that as long as the communication is really on par, I mean, then there really is no dilemma. What do I have to say about that? Really, it's just a matter of the fact that you guys are very communicative of intentions and how you guys keep up with a business's pace. And so, yeah,
we've heard where a problem that has been festering for a bit, right? But if we're not checking in with the client, checking in with the VA, then these small problems can fester into big problems.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Our job is to go in there and catch them early, which is why we like to keep these lines of communication open with everybody so that we can all talk about.
One of my favorite things is the accountability component when it comes to the virtual assistants. Obviously, me, myself, as the client, I want to make sure that I'm getting the deliverables on hand when it comes to the tasks that need to be done. But when it comes to attendance or like the minuscule things that still need to be reviewed, I think that's where you guys really shine, is making sure that they show up and they show up on time and they're there to work to the best of their ability.
And if they don't show up, which we have on occasion because of power outage or something happens, a typhoon comes through and wipes the town out. I mean, just things can happen, right? It's crazy. Some earthquake, whatever, that we're on it so that we can figure out and quickly help the client know, hey, this is what's going on.
Right.
Your person didn't ghost you or bail on you. This is an actual situation.
Right.
And that's in addition to whatever relationship you may have with the VA, and you guys are communicating somewhere. Which everybody should have that, but sometimes, it definitely helps to have somebody else chasing that down because you're busy.
Absolutely.
Which is why you got the VAs in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So for other businesses, maybe in the digital marketing space that are looking to get into virtual staffing, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so I would say that you can't 100% delegate your business. This is an obvious thing. You still have to show up to your business, and you have to be the one that is client-facing to the people that you serve. That's an obvious one. Just because, they're going to be based on the other side of the world, and so you can't ask them to physically come and film for you or whatever the case may be. I think that if you're a business owner that is considering virtual assistants, the biggest thing to be mindful of is that they're there to help you with the behind-the-scenes stuff. A lot of the things that the scope of work that I deliver to my clients, we just started a program called the Grassroots Marketing Program. And what it is even though it sounds like a curriculum or like a course or anything like that, it's actually the complete opposite. It's just a turnkey solution for the clients that I work with. So that way, all we really need to do is get approvals for them, and then we handle the rest. And so the way that we make that work, the way that the magic happens, is that we have all these systems and processes from the back end that I work with these virtual assistants on to make sure that it saves the time from my client's side, and they're putting the best use of, one, the overhead, right? So because I don't have an office technically, I can illustrate that cost over to my clients by saying, you're not paying much overhead, and I can delegate a lot of that to the advertising budgets that they propose and what they put together. So it really is just a matter of utilizing the people that you work with.
Yeah, it keeps you super competitive, right? Mm-hmm. So somebody who's thinking, where did you start with your first VA as far as what did they help you with to start with? What was that thing you got off your plate first?
Yeah, so a big component of my business, obviously the front-facing part of it, was the planning, the strategy, the filming. And then what was really taking up a lot of my time was the editing, the data gathering. It was the analytics component of it. It was really just the content creation, the actual creation of the content that was really taking up the most time. And so, the next step for me was either like I needed to hire a second person or like a CMO or like someone who could be my right hand on person. But to your point, it wouldn't have been a fair wage if I would have brought in someone at that stage of my business. And it's still not at my stage, and I'm hoping to get there. But right now, a lot of people talk about you have your one-man band and then you have a big giant company that works off of a giant team, and nobody tells you how to get from point A to point B. And so I was trying to figure out how to get to that point, and I had no solution until I met you. Once I got in tune with Kruka's virtual staffing, then I knew that the next step was that I needed to bring in a virtual assistant to help me do the legwork on the things that were taking up the most time. And what I was able to do was bring in, first we had, let me see. So I really want to give a shout out to my virtual assistants that I have been working with so far. So first we have Ellie. Ellie is the content creator. She is the video editor. She is the one who pretty much prioritizes what needs to be focused on for the clients that I'm working with from a video perspective. Trying to make sure that and this is her words, not mine. Like, we have to obsess over quality. We're living in a day and age where there's too much quantity out there and too much spam, too much junk content that we really need to go above and beyond.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise.
It's just too much noise, right? How do you thrive in an overstimulated economy?
Quality.
So we brought Ellie on. She's been a powerhouse, right? She's been a rock star with a lot of the video editing. And then we brought on Gabrielle, who goes by Gab. So I brought her on to keep me accountable. So she is our project manager, and she is in charge of making sure that tasks get done. And so it's just to make sure that the client is satisfied in every way possible by fulfilling the services that we actually need to provide for them.
Like that.
And so after that, then Ellie started getting the stress on her, and so then we had to bring in a second person. We brought on Darcy as our second video editor / content creator, and so these three have been, again, a powerhouse of a team, and it's been very much roundtable. I always tell the virtual assistants that, like, we're all experts in our field, so we should tap into each other's strengths and weaknesses to really leverage and boost our what we can do for our company and for the clients that we serve.
I imagine too, you're growing as a leader too, because you're actually, I mean, this is, your
Yeah,
crew's
absolutely.
getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and I'm not unfamiliar with leadership. It's something that I have actually received training for and all that good stuff. But what you don't receive training for is, the being a business owner that is managing your team in a way that excites them, that motivates them. And so, yes, you're right. It's been a learning experience, but it's something that I love to pour every second of every minute into because I'm so passionate about.
Yeah, and that's how you achieve, in my opinion, great success, is be able to bring people together, motivate them.
And foster creativity, foster the motivation, foster work, foster great work. Something
I agree.
Yeah.
So if, other folks are out there figuring out what staffing company you want to go to, obviously we want to service as many clients as we can.
Right.
But we want to service the right clients who have the right attitude. But would you recommend Kruka's, and if so, why?
Yeah, absolutely. I have done my fair share of searching for other, virtual staffing or just in staffing in general. And one thing I will say is that you guys have made it as easy as possible for onboarding, for recruitment. It's gotten to a point where when we were bringing on the third assistant, I was relying on Gab to navigate the interview process. So all I had to do was come in for that final interview and give the okay.
That's real
beautiful.
maturity in that too, man.
I love it.
Yeah, I had the experience or the pleasure of doing that in my business where, Abby now, and I know you're familiar with Abby, she runs that division on pretty much. So she hires her own people now that she wants on her team. It's like it's a 95% self-running section of the
Absolutely.
business. And it's all about having the right people and, training them up right and giving them a fertile environment in which to grow.
Absolutely.
Love all that. All right. If folks want to get in touch with you, how do they do that, Ramil?
Yeah, they can go to ThinkSparkSolutions.com. That's really the best way. We're very limited on the clientele that we take in. It's a pretty selective process. But if you're a franchise, you're pretty much already halfway there. If you have a marketing budget that you're working with, if you're trying to reduce or optimize, really, all of the clients, one of the biggest things that I offer to the people that we work with is that we can effectively maximize your ROI to get the most bang for your buck, or we pretty much do it for free until we get there.
Nice. I like service, especially in lead generation,
Absolutely.
Coming with some kind of guarantee. I like that. It's not always easy to do, but all right, man.
But it's a great feeling because there's so much confidence in that. we just do what we do best so that the people that we work with can do what they do best.
Yeah. So your ideal client, just so I'm clear, is going to be somebody in the food and beverage who has a franchise.
That's correct.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ramil. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for your time. Yeah.
All right. As we wrap up the show, quick reminder, check out our latest podcast and catch video version of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for this one. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.